I recently came across this incredible gem, this fantastic slice of Americana, this beautiful piece of American history. I have to pull it up, mainly because of the comments. I gotta be honest. It is mainly the comments on this video. But of course, the video I'm talking about is the now iconic 2003 interview with Britney Spears on CNN with bow tie Tucker Carlson. It's just incredible stuff. I'll play a short clip because this is, I would say the meatiest clip of the interview, and because somebody in a comment I'm gonna address directly references this part.
You're going to be on the National Mall soon performing for Pepsi and the NFL and also to support our troops. A lot of entertainers have come out against the war in Iraq. Have you?
Honestly, I think we should just trust our president in every decision that he makes, and we should just support that, and be faithful in what happens.
Do you trust this president?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. You think he's going to win again?
I don't know. I don't know that.
Before we even get to the comments, let me tell you exactly what that, 20 seconds was. All that was the most safe PR answer you could have given at the time. And really all the way up until Donald Trump, honestly, all the way up until Donald Trump became president. No matter what was going on at any interview at any time, if you were a celebrity, you could always just say, I trust the president. You could be fucking like Morgan Freeman getting in trouble for cheating on your wife. And when an interviewer asks you, why did you do it? You could just say, I don't know about all that, but I support our president. And everybody would calm down. Everybody would say, okay, well, this guy supports the president. That's a good thing, right? Because that's how things used to be. It used to be that no matter what you think of the president, he's still the guy that's running the ship. So we should want him to do well. After Donald Trump took over, things completely flipped. Now it's quite literally the safest answer to just say, I strongly dislike the president. If you get caught smoking crack behind a motel room in Los Angeles and an interviewer asks you why, you could just say, well, I don't like Donald Trump. And the whole country will calm down. Things are just different now. And a lot of these kids in these comments don't realize this. I think that's what's going on. I think these comments are mostly teenagers or Gen Z kids that don't, obviously weren't around for this stuff in 2003 or weren't old enough to understand anything. Just because I have the video not on screen now. If anybody does want to go look at the comments, the video is on a YouTube channel called Britney Online. And the video is called Britney Spears, CNN Live from the Headlines 2003 Interview AI Restore. This is the section of the video where I'm going to talk about cope, right? This is, to me, this is this weird form of coping. Like it's this weird celebrity worship cope. Part of it is the fact that she's talking to Tucker Carlson, right? Again, in the same way that these kids can't comprehend how supporting the president used to be a safe answer, they also can't comprehend that Tucker Carlson used to just be kind of a goofy guy in a bow tie that worked at CNN. They can't comprehend a world where he's not the boogeyman, where he's not persona non grata in the media. One of the comments that you run into first just says, she was trolling during the interview. Love her. Doesn't explain why, doesn't explain how, just this person, is probably holds themselves up as a huge fan of Britney Spears and knows her so well, right? All these people know Britney so much better than you do. They all know her so well. They know that she's trolling. Based on a 6-minute interview, they know that she's just trolling the whole time, even though there's no signs that she is trolling. We have another comment that says, you can tell she wasn't having any of his bullshit from the beginning and she was trolling him. There's no signs of her trolling him. Once again, I'm actually old enough to remember Britney Spears. I've always loved Britney Spears. And actually, when I was a kid, one of my first CDs was Britney Spears' first album. So I've always been a fan. And I have to say, I don't know why people nowadays are acting like she's always been like some covert genius, always playing 4D chess, like Britney's just on a whole other plane intellectually. She's really not, and she never has been. I don't know where this idea came from, that she is, like a secret genius. But apparently there are fans that seem to think so. And these fans know her better than me and you. You know, they'll tell you that. They can tell you that she was trolling the whole time. People even responded to this comment about her not having any of Tucker's bullshit. Somebody just said she wasn't, because, she obviously wasn't. Somebody said, "What do you mean his bullshit? I've seen her in other interviews where she acts exactly the same. I didn't see anything wrong with this interview. You're wanting to see something that's not there." Now, there's one comment, and this is the reason that I played that part of the clip. This person commented and said, "People thinking she was actually being respectful to him. LMAO. My sarcasm meter has never reached these high levels. The president bit is because back in 2003, radio was banning artists speaking out against Bush." Okay, so if you, like, surface level, if you Google the Britney Spears radio ban, all that happened was back in the day, back in these times, there was a company called Clear Channel, and Britney Spears decided to go with Pepsi as a sponsor for her tour instead of Clear Channel. So Clear Channel, who was in charge of US radio stations at the time, was mad about this and tried to get her kicked off of all the radio stations. There's nothing about her speaking out against George W. Bush and getting kicked off the radio. That didn't happen. That's not what happened. In fact, if you Google Britney Spears speaking out against George W. Bush, the first thing that comes up is this Tucker Carlson interview where she clearly says, "I support the president, who is George W. Bush." It's weird cope. It's weird cope. People are making things up because they just cannot fathom the idea that this singer that they like might have supported a president who happens to be a Republican. And I don't even think her answer necessarily shows some high level of support for him. Like I said, I think this was just a safe answer. I guarantee you, her manager before this interview talked to her and said, "Hey, look, Tucker's going to ask you about the Support the Troops show that you're playing coming up. Just say you support the president and let's move on." Like I said, very generic, safe answer. But people just cannot fathom the idea that back in the day, people used to support Republican presidents. People just they just can't work it out in their heads because they're so right and everybody else is so wrong. But Britney Spears can't be wrong, right? Because they love Britney Spears. That's kind of the thing that bothers me the most is all these people that think they can just speak for all these other people, right? "Oh, well, I love this celebrity, so I can't just leave them. I have to take them with me. So here, I'm just going to make something up about how they're trolling, and how they're playing 4D chess. That way I can take them with me." It's all very ridiculous, and I don't know when this whole mentality started. The thing that's funny too about all this is that, it is of course very easy nowadays to look back at 2003 and say, "Yeah, of course the Iraq war was stupid. Everything George W. Bush did was stupid." We all know that now, but back in 2003, all we really had was the TV. And you know what was on the TV? It was George W. Bush telling us that we need to go to war. That's all there really was. You know, like Tucker said, there were celebrities that spoke out against it and weren't down with it. But there were also celebrities that just said, "Yeah, I support the president. Everything's all good with me." And everybody still got along. Again, different times that kids today just cannot fathom. Another funny example of this kind of same mentality, in my opinion, is Gwen Stefani recently teaming up with the Catholic prayer app called Hallow. And first of all, I do have to say, I am not religious today. I'm not a Christian, but I did grow up in a Christian school and I grew up going to church. And I just have to say that the idea of an app that people use to pray is completely ridiculous. Like, "Hey, you're going to go talk to God, the guy that you believe gave you life and will bring you to heaven? Here, pull out your phone and use our app." There's nothing more 2025 than a prayer app. But anyways, Gwen Stefani has obviously been teaming up with them. She's been doing all these ads for them. And people, in comments are just freaking out about it because they just cannot fathom that this singer that they like might have different ideas than them. Here we got comments. "Trad wife transformation complete. What the hell is this? I'm just going to tell myself this is AI and continue with my life. Gwen, I've loved you since I was 8 years old back in the Tragic Kingdom days. I understand your faith is important to you, but this is seriously cringe." Yeah, oh my god, how cringe that somebody else might think differently than me. Imagine being so narcissistic that the idea of another human thinking differently than you makes you cringe. I mean, they're saying it right there. This makes them cringe to think that there are humans out there who have different opinions and beliefs than them. It's completely narcissistic. We have another one. Who is this and what have you done with the real Gwen? This cannot be real. Now she seems like such a Republican. What's funny is that these people are commenting as if they're the real fans of Gwen Stefani. You know, who are you and what have you done with the real Gwen? I'm a real fan. I know exactly who the real Gwen Stefani is. Yet you can go right on to Wikipedia and see that Gwen Stefani is a lifelong Catholic. To this day, considers herself a Roman Catholic. But oh, these are the real fans, right? These are the real fans that know the real stuff that's going on behind the scenes with Gwen Stefani. It's just a weird mentality that all these kids have, you know, just this whole idea that nobody can think differently than you. It's not possible, right? Britney Spears, she's obviously trolling. If she ever expresses an opinion that's different than mine, she's trolling. You know, and the thing that's ridiculous about the Britney Spears thing is that that's an interview from 2003. Like these kids are so short-sighted that they can't even just imagine that things used to be different. You know, it'd be one thing if that interview happened today. You know, like if today Britney Spears did an interview with Tucker Carlson and she said she like supports the president, that's a little bit different. It's still not because to me that's still somebody else thinking differently than you and you should just accept that and just be again, you know, happy that you have all the music that she's provided us. But the fact that it happened in 2003 and you have kids coping in the comments of a video of an interview from 2003 trying to take Britney with you again, right? You're getting on this train with the people that have your opinion, and you just can't leave Britney behind. So you just have to make stuff up. I have to take her with me, you know? Gwen Stefani. I just cannot imagine that she's a Christian, that she believes in God. I hate this so much that I just have to tell myself this is AI and continue on with my life. This makes me cringe. It makes me cringe to think that other human beings have different ideas than me. I just think it's fucking ridiculous. I just think it's ridiculous. I think you kids all need to fucking grow up. I think you all need to grow up real fucking quick, or else you're gonna I don't know, you're gonna end up doing some weird shit with your lives if you can't get with the idea that other people have different ideas. It's super fucking weird, and I don't know when it started or why it started, but it's pretty bad. I think it's pretty bad. I think it's pretty bad nowadays. It's really just goofy. It's really just goofy, and it's really just silly. Someone just needs to tell you to knock it the fuck off. Everything's fine. Britney Spears can think whatever she wants. Gwen Stefani can pray to whatever god she wants. You still have Tragic Kingdom. It is still there on your Spotify playlist. It's still just as good as it always was. Just go listen to it and shut the fuck up.
And we're all here today to groove and have a beautiful time together, and that it's only the beginning. Sometimes I think I'm drunk and then I realize I am drunk. Sometimes I think I'm drunk and then I realize I am